Which character do you think is the scariest video game character ever? Welcome back, my fellow gamers. It's me, Amanda. Cuphead is known for being a fan favorite in the gaming community. It's got a fun, upbeat soundtrack and flashy side-scroll gameplay, but what horror stories lie beneath its surface? Number 10, Not What It Seems, Part 1. This story comes to us from Reddit user creepypastas. Warning, the following story actually happened to me. Do not do what I describe doing in the following story. I wish I had this knowledge. So, this past Wednesday, I was delighted to discover that the new game Cuphead had finally been released. I had been anticipating it for quite a while, and its existence had slipped my mind. I had recently been at a friend's house and saw him play it for a moment, but I never got the opportunity to play it myself. I'm not proud to admit it, but I didn't want to spend money on the game. Normally, I do try to purchase indie games to support the developers, but I had recently made a purchase to repair my car's transmission, so I was low on cash. I wasn't entirely familiar with how to pirate video games. My friend's older brother had kind of shown me how to do it before, but I didn't recall the website he had shown me. I knew it was something like Black Skull Games, so that's what I looked up. I clicked the first site that wasn't an ad and was greeted with a page that looked straight out of the early 1990 days of the internet, or worse, the dark web. The stark black page contained only three things: a search bar, Arial text displaying the name of the page, Skull Black Gaming, and an image of a real skull that had been spray painted black. I was creeped out, but began my search for Cuphead. Stay tuned for the continuation of this longer creepypasta later on in our video. And friends, before I move on to the next creepypasta and keep getting creepy, please go and check out our newest channel, Most Amazing Top 10 Anime. Give them a subscribe while you're over there. Just do it. It's a good thing for you, and it'll make you feel good. Number 9, The Chosen One. Cuphead speaks to me sometimes in the games. He whispers things into my headset. He tells me that I am the chosen one, that I will rise up next to fight for him, to kill for him. I stopped playing the game because of this, but it turns out that I had no choice. I started having blackouts, and one day I awoke in an empty house with a bloody knife in my hand and Cuphead winking at me from across the room on my TV. Number 8, Till the End. When I finally beat Cuphead, I couldn't believe it. But it was about to become even more unbelievable. As the credits rolled, the devil appeared on the screen. You thought it was over? He laughed as the credits continued to scroll behind him. No. Your soul is mine. I tried to get up and leave the room, but I was frozen. If it weren't for a sudden power outage, my soul would have been sucked dry. Whatever you do, don't watch the credits till the end. Number 7, If at first you do not succeed, help me. I'm trapped playing this game. Every time I play a level I can't get past, time rewinds. I've been playing this game for years now, but time moves differently for me. While I've been stuck inside the same unaging body, mentally I've been growing up, driven insane by the fact that I can't win. I might never win, and I might be stuck in the same loop of the same level, the same time loop, forever. Help me. Number 6, Bloody Cuphead vs. Bloody Bendy. Bloody Cuphead had killed Mugman, and had wandered to a studio he did not recognize. It had a sign that read Joey Drew Studios. As he walked into the studio, he couldn't help but notice how abandoned the place looked. It was like a ghost town. There was ink everywhere, along with decomposing corpses of black and white cartoon characters. Not to mention inky monsters known as Lost Ones. Suddenly, he saw something floating in the distance. As he got closer, he realized it was a demon. But not just any ordinary demon, the demon looked like a 1970s cartoon character. He was covered in blood with glowing red eyes. "Hello there," the demon said. "I'm Bloody Bendy, the new ruler of Joey Drew Studios. What brings you here?" "I just killed," said Bloody Cuphead, "and now I'm going to kill you." Just as Bloody Cuphead was about to hit, the demon vanished into thin air. "Nice try, Cup Boy, but I'm faster than you think," Bloody Bendy taunted, creating a bazooka out of ink that immediately fired a missile at Bloody Cuphead. Cuphead dodged it as the missile exploded through a wall behind him. "I'm sending you back to hell, you demon," Cuphead yelled as he fired a laser beam from his finger at Bloody Bendy. Now it was Bloody Bendy's turn to dodge. He created a chainsaw out of ink and swung it at Bloody Cuphead. The tip of the blade sliced through Bloody Cuphead's chest, leaving a jagged wound. but the wound instantly disappeared. "You can heal yourself?" Bloody Bendy exclaimed in shock, right as Bloody Cuphead fired another laser beam, disintegrating him. Bloody Cuphead left Joey Drew Studios, thirsty for his next kill. Number 5, Not What It Seems, Part 2, continuing the story that we started earlier. I began my search for Cuphead. The first and only result was text displaying Cuphead, early copy 2015. I was stunned. This wasn't the newest, most polished copy of the game, but it was a rare opportunity to play an older version of a game that had been in development for a long time. It appeared as though the file had been uploaded to the site that very year. I quickly hit the download button and it instantly appeared in my download box, cuphead.exe. I double-clicked it. The game began loading and I was greeted with the logo of the game's company, MGTK, then the opening cutscene began. I was delighted to see the old-timey animation and the smiling faces of Cuphead and his friend and brother Mugman. However, there appeared to be no prompt to continue, and I quickly began hitting every key on the keyboard to proceed. Minutes passed and I became distressed, but then I glanced up towards the screen and noticed something had changed. Cuphead, he was no longer bobbing up and down, as was his normal looping animation. He was standing completely still. But not as though the game's animation had frozen. He did seem to be slightly swaying, and I could see his chest rise and fall as though he was breathing. He stared directly out from the screen, his eyes appearing to be locked on me. And the final part is coming, so stay tuned! Number 4, Miss Chalice's preference. Whatever you do, do not change your settings in Cuphead. Let me know if you have had this experience. I went to adjust some of my controls. I didn't really like the defaults, they just weren't working for me, and I kept dying as a result. When I did change them, however, my game suddenly froze. Mrs. Chalice appeared on screen, but she seemed broken. Her cup was cracked and she was crying blood, with claw-like fingers. When she raked her hands down her face, blood spurted out of the top of her cup and seemed to flow down over my screen. I quickly turned off my computer and haven't played since. Number 3, Headless Cuphead. Have you ever experienced this glitch before in a game? It was so weird and disturbing. First, Cuphead freezes. Then he seems to turn towards you, facing you. If you happen to lock eyes with him, even a little bit, that's when things become disturbing. He begins to disassemble himself, and the look of glee on his face as he does it, it's terrifying. Last but not least, his head topples over, spilling a cup full of blood everywhere, covering his face with its permanently stuck, twisted grin. Number 2, No Pain, No Gain. Alex doesn't play Cuphead anymore, not since last time. Cuphead can heal, sure, but in his experience, that only happened if Alex was willing to accept a punishment. He played a version of the game that had been modded. It was called the No Pain, No Gain mod, and this hacked version of the game, unbeknownst to Alex, caused him to feel real pain every time Cuphead was hit. Number 1, Not What It Seems, Part 3. Cuphead's eyes in the game seemed to be locked on me, as he remained unmoving, gently swaying instead of bobbing, his chest rising and falling with each seeming breath. I thought it was weird before I began to look for a controller. Perhaps that's what the issue was. I needed a controller to continue the game. That would surely fix it. I stood up from my seat and began searching for one, but as I walked away from the screen, something changed again. The music had stopped, and when I turned back, Mugman was gone. Only Cuphead remained, standing in the middle of the screen, staring directly at me. What the hell? I said, slowly approaching the screen, ready to hit the escape key. Slowly, he began lowering his head, and I mashed the escape, not wanting to see what would come next. He tilted his head down far enough to reveal what his cup truly contained. Steeped in liquid was none other than a deformed, small thing. Bloated, pink, leprous, festering, its mouth opening and closing with the tide of the jostling liquid in the cup. I gasped, disgusted by what I saw on the screen before me. As I backed up, Cuphead's eyes began rolling back in his cup head, and he smiled, almost as though he was happy to see what he carried in his cup this entire time. Thanks for watching. I hope you didn't get too spooked on this one. Cuphead can definitely be fun, but also apparently really freaky, so hey. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't keep on gaming on. Pew pew!